tools needed for this job: needle nose pliers, Torx head, normal pliers, specialty tool, blade, wire nuts. Motor hardwire on our BG100 series that includes the 100, 101, 102, and 107.
Okay, so first you're going to take your unit, I'm just going to flip it on its back. You're going to see two springs right here. Both of those springs have to come out before your top cover will release. You take some needle nose pliers and just pull up on it and pop it off. Same thing on both sides. Okay, after that, you're going to turn it back over. And if you're okay, so if you're going to change your cord out, you are going to need a tool like this, or you might possibly be able to do it with pliers. You're going to slip this under here and remove this strain relief. Set that to the side. Then you're going to take your pliers and you're going to remove this cover right here on top of this. It just unscrews. And it will come all the way off. Okay. And then the next thing you're going to do is take your height adjustment off. You will need a star tool or a torque tool to get that off. You just stick it in there, and it's a little tight at first, but it will come right out. Alright, so once all those three are off, you're just going to remove this top chrome cover. It'll pop right up. Be careful, it is a little sharp in there and it will cut you. And you're going to set this off to the side. Make sure you don't lose your springs. They're still going to be attached. Okay, so next you got your motor in here, and then your cords should all be zip tied together. You're going to have to cut those zip ties carefully. Okay, once you got those going, if you are changing your cord, the only thing you should have to cut will be your white cord and your black cord. If you have a pair of wire cutters, just snip through both sides of those. Okay, and then you are going to have to use your torque or your star tool again to try to get, or to release the ground wire off there, and it just unscrews. Okay, just like that. And with that, that is going to release your complete cord from your motor. So then if you are putting your new one on, just make sure you slip it through the same side that has the ground wire on it, so that the other side is for your on and off button. So you just put it through there. You are going to strip these down. Okay, so then if you're putting your cord back on, this green one is going to be your ground, and it will stick with this other green one. And you just match the colors up. That's all it's going to be to it. So you're going to strip a little bit off this bottom one of the white, strip some off of the white that's coming from the motor. And try to make sure it doesn't have that little frayed on it when you're putting it on. You don't want it wrapped around with that. So you just take your white wire to your white wire on the motor, twist them around each other, and then you're going to get what's called a wire nut, which looks like this. You just slip it on and twist, and that's just going to keep everything together so it doesn't fall apart later. Okay, and then you are going to repeat the same process with your black wire. Just snip a little bit off of this, and then your black wire coming from your on-off switch, snip a little bit off the end of that one. And twist those together like you did the other one. And then put a wire nut on top of that one. Okay, so then you're going to match your green with your green. I try to run them underneath everything. It keeps them out of the way more. You just one on top of the other one. Then get your screw from earlier. Put it through both of the green ones. And then you're just going to screw it back in. You want it tight, as tight as you can get it, so that those wires aren't moving. So just check them, make sure they're not wiggling around. And if they're not, they're good. And that is all you have to do inside of here. Now when you're taking your parts off, there is another washer, a tooth washer inside. Make sure you don't lose that on top of your on-off switch. So then you're just going to put your cover back on. Kind of tuck these wires as best as you can in here, or you can zip tie them back together, whatever you prefer. You're going to put your on-off switch back through the button. And I like to do this before I try to put it down. And I will get this on just like as tight as it will go, so that it stays in position while you're trying to get everything else going. As long as it's not wiggling around, you're good for right now. Okay, so then with your top cover, you can kind of see the outline that goes around here. Your top cover needs to be on the inside of that line. So I prefer putting one side in. You take your hand on this side and just push till you hear it pop in. Make sure it's the same all the way around so that nothing's off, because it will make it harder to put your bottom parts back on. So then you're gonna lift up your base a little bit and lift up the front wheels towards you, so that you can put your height adjustment back in and that doesn't get in the way. And then it'll sit right back in there. You can let that go. And then you just tighten that back up. Now you don't want this to be super tight. So when you get it almost tight, make sure that you can still turn your height adjustment. If you get it too tight, it will not turn. So then we are going to go back up here to our strain relief. Put this back on so that our cord doesn't move around, and that is sharp in there. It will cut into your wire if you're not careful. So you get your tool back again. You're going to set it on here, squeeze it together, and that will just pop right back in. And then I go back over here and make sure I got this tight enough after I get all that in. This just kind of keeps you from losing any of your parts doing it this way. And then you're going to flip it back over on the bottom. And this part is a bit difficult. You're going to get your needle nose pliers again. And if you can see on the inside of your, right here where your springs go, there's a little notch that sticks out. You're going to want to put the smaller end of your spring in that notch before you try to pull it up. So stick it in there.
Let me swap sides. Let's see if they can see it from this side.
So you're going to try and get it in there. Okay. You take yours and hold on to that. Now it's a little easier if you will pull up. You're going to pop it onto this smaller part first, and then you can reposition and pop it back up into the place you need to. Okay? Well, let's go to the other side and put that on. If you don't get these on, it will cause your top to fall off while you're vacuuming. And this can be a little bit of a pain.
Real world. Swap sides so you can see it a little bit better.
It's always one side.
Mm-hmm. It's all right. You know Greg and Pascal don't miss this.
Right. On this.
You're doing great. I like for people to see that this is not as easy as we make it look sometimes.
It's definitely not with
And
these.
you're a pro. You make things look so easy.
How about that? Here. Alright, there we go. Okay, so once you have that in place, you are done. Flip it back over and make sure you didn't forget any of those spots, and then you're got your new motor hooked up with a new cord.
Nice job.